got FURIA with us. We've still got W7M with us.
So they're obviously cheering on their friends.
Least.
And every time there's a certain chant they're doing, the crowd is responding in kind with
a certain chant.
Yeah. That's it, and there's Medics down my ear.
We have got
chanting
Medics
exactly the same.
Medics back on the keys for observing this time around.
Are you going to join in this time?
I'll join in with one. So we've got Hibana as our first ban. We know what's coming for the second ban. We'll let the timer tick down. I can't do 14 seconds of it. I don't think anybody wants to hear that. There we go. Ying comes in.
Curious ban from Rogue as well, because they love playing that onto the basement. They'll normally open up lobby hatch and then toss that down, and then their execute comes through. Were you not feeling chaotic enough to do that whilst I was talking?
So what actually happened there, Des, was I tripped over the cable very professionally for my headset, and I dragged out not the side where you can hear me, but I dragged out the side where I can hear myself. So I thought the whole thing had cut out.
I see.
So now I picked my.
I did think you shut up. You shut up very suddenly, and I was like, oh.
I thought I'd yoinked the mic cable out, so I thought that nobody would be able to hear me. So if I shut up, then you'll take over. That's how it works.
I see.
But I've got my cable firmly in my hand now, so we are safe and sound.
Perfect. Locker CC going to be the first site we start on with FaZe on the defense. Knowing how Rogue like to play this map, they like to get busy out and about. They like to bring along things like the Echo, feed information over to the roamers to help them pick up kills around the map. But will FaZe go for a similar sort of approach? Not quite. But I do expect you'll see them out and about around the map, given how they've played this series so far, which has been hyper-mobile, hyper-aggressive.
So a couple of bands that we don't see every day. Echo, we know the value of. Ying, we've seen that rappelling through the windows, CEO plant a number of times now. Not wanting to deal with that. As Army, not always banned out on Bank, but again, we know the value of. That's going to round out our bans. Round one is going to be here, and Des, I don't know whether you're glad, but somebody, I mean, it's to me just something that I say. But it's really stuck around. So I'm kind of glad to see that we've got the Aruni coming along and we can have some laser gates in play. There's going to be opportunity for me to say that a good few times.
Laser gates in play today.
It's almost as if I said it like that on purpose.
I know you did. I just thought I'd extend it by an extra one. Ole, 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 ole. And that's what we keep hearing.
Behave yourself, Des. Right.
No.
30 seconds in. We don't have any contact between these two teams as of yet. Leon's going to get established up on the square skylight. As you can see, Lasergate at the top of blue stairs there, going to be just preventing that push onto the player. We quite often see a number of different setups here. It can be the warden behind a deployable shield with ADSs with mine magnets. It can be the smoke, trying to use those toxic babe canisters to hold them off. This time, it is the smoke, supported by the Lasergate from Bullet.
Where's Astro? He's only just started putting down his can traps. He's so late on this one.
There's not a lot of utility to help keep Soul safe on those stairs. I think there's just the one Lasergate. That's a problem.
I was just shocked that Astro still have 5 in back pocket with like 2 minutes 15 left in the round. Like, normally you take a bit too long to do setup. On this side, admittedly, it's okay because no soft flooring. A lot like Oregon, you're generally quite safe in the basement until they come pushing down. But it was one of those I was looking at just like, are you okay? You're not getting caught out too soon, but someone could rush in and find you out if you're trying to put them down in the wrong spots. Either way, Leon's got himself started inside of admin and inside of open up both these hatches for the team. They often do tend to avoid playing things like hard breaches, and instead things like the Capital, the Ying, the Buck, for example, they'll bring along and have the hard breach gadget in back pocket, and that normally proves to be enough.
That was a really smart nitro there if you saw it come up from Cyber. What was particularly smart about it was the angle that it was thrown at. That's thinking 2 steps ahead and thinking, right, they've opened that hatch up, what's the next step? It's going to be to step inside of the small office and start on that hatch or trying to get a peek down it, and that's exactly where he landed his nitro. But Leon, very wisely, had moved away to the opposite side of open and does not get caught out by it. Crying nearly gets caught out on the garage ramp, though. Nearly gets taken down as Bullet is holding the long angle.
It's quite rare that you can be held back in a 1 versus 1 like that as well. Normally you'll see a couple of players on ramp looking to challenge together. This is Boy. A player that has been very quiet throughout this series starts out the scoring. Kanto taken down in response, though, by the side of FaZe. Should be juiced back up by Spoit once he gets through that cooldown.
5 versus 3 as Leon manages to find cameraman from above, and things are getting a little bit dicey for FaZe here as another kill comes in onto Souls, who have been chased out of the blue stairs. 5 versus 2, 20 seconds left to go. They need to get in and start getting this diffuser down now, Rogue. It's not time to pause, it's time to kill as Spoit manages to find Astro shut down, but crying with the trade, and that is going to be the round for Rogue. They open up Bank with a successful attack in the basement.
And a good start for Spoit. I don't want to channel too much on just one player here, but Spoit has been quiet this series. 5 and 12 last map. I don't think I've seen him have that bad a performance in all the group stage, all of stage 2. It was a really low map for him, but Bank is where Rogue feel right at home. If you're going to see him come online anywhere, Tim, it's going to be this map.
Round number 2, then we're going to be going up to the top floor for our site. It is CEO this time around. We don't have the Ying, so I would expect to see something a little bit different out of Rogue. They're likely to still pay attention to the windows, but often the plant attempt comes under the cover of those smokes, of those candelas, just trying to keep people out of Banana, out of Janitor, while that diffuser goes down. But they're going to have to think outside of the box. They're going to have to go to plan B, and that is going to be potentially try to open the wall up, as we used to see, top of square skylight. Still gets done sometimes. We've got the ace on side with Leon, so that would suggest that there's going to be some hard breach, but that ace can quite often be used to open up the wall that you see just in front of you in Janitor there. Straight across from the windows to where Astro is now. Thank you. If you get that wall open, it makes it very difficult for the Janitor player to stay in position.
Absolutely, well, a lot spread across this top floor then, rather than trying to throw him onto the downstairs. It's very common for Rogue on this site especially. Normally you'll see Kanto and Deepek droning Spoit him, and so he'll play in through top square, and Crime will work his way in below, looking to make use of those vertical grenades. So whether or not FaZe have got the read onto that and want to go and challenge it is another conversation altogether. It's Astro holding inside of Janitor, playing with the shotgun, ready and waiting. That's things set up though. For now at least, Spoit's still holding on the outside, so the drones are rifling on through, but I'm looking at Leon here. He's got the drone in place as well on square, so a different player giving the support coming in, at least for now, and I think Cryin is waiting on the downstairs for someone, namely Cyber, to step across in towards Logi and get a free kill.
Leon just taking a few pot shots down into stock there. Cyber currently just sort of in no man's land, doesn't have deployable shield, doesn't have any utility to really help him too much in that position once this wall gets opened up, but he doesn't need it, Des! His gun is all the protection he needs as he takes on the peek onto Leon and gets the kill, and a second for Cyber. He will not be moved!
He won't, but Spoit manages to find one, pushing at least down towards Janitor. It was Astro who came on the swing there and got brought down by Deepek. From range, I believe that was that as well. So 2 players here for Rogue playing up on the window. Spoit out on square, a little limited on options. They're going to have to make a lot happen with very little in their control.
Proximity alarm, just going to give away the fact that Spoit has gone in through that double window, but there's nobody in a position any longer to make a challenge, so not the end of the world. Deepek just hoping for the best here on the long angle, I think, wanting to just find somebody, some information, but it doesn't matter as Cyber steps up and gets the kill onto Spoit, but from beyond the grave, a nade was dropped and Cyber goes as well.
They've got a hard choice here, Rogue, as well. I think Deepek's rotating back out towards the window, so the two of them will be playing in a similar sort of spot, but trying to repel him blind against 3 players still standing doesn't feel like a safe bit of gameplay to me. You got Cameraman who's sat ready and waiting for them to go for that kind of play so we can swing and get the spray down. Bullets also got the cross, and Souls just holding inside of Elevator here gives them another angle of protection. But it feels like FaZe are pretty well set up for whatever Rogue might throw at them.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a very difficult nut for Rogue to crack now. If you want success up on the top floor, you've got to keep your men alive because you need 1 or 2 out on the windows, and that limits how many you can play inside the map. In comes the rappel from Kanto, gets himself established inside of the map. The next couple of kills could be crucial, and there we go, right on cue. Bullet manages to find a headshot onto Kanto. Deepek with the long angle. Surely he can't do it for a 3rd time. It's not looking likely as the push comes on to the Janitor door, but there is a shotgun in hand. It's going to be Cameraman on the smoke. It's going to be the final kill for FaZe, and that's going to be 1-1.
Great little double up as well there. 1 man behind him sat on the long table in long desk, and the support's there to make it a 2 versus 1. No way the Deepek should be able to win both of those with outside a godly flick. So 1 for 1 to start things off. Now we head down into the basement once again, where Rogue look very confident on the attack, and FaZe going to have to try something a little bit different here, I feel, Tim.
I think so. Certainly down on the bottom floor, what they were working with previously didn't really pay off for them. We often see the extension, and I've talked at length about how heavily you extend into open and staff area, but I feel like it could be helpful for them here. Don't commit too much utility up there. You still need your setup down on site, but they just gave away that mid-floor too quickly to Rogue last time around. So for me, get yourself into open area, get yourself into staff, have a little bit of a setup there, open the hatch, give yourself the opportunity to drop away when the pressure becomes too much, but just try to hold them off for as long as possible. And it looks like that is going to be the case.
They were kind of limited in terms of hard breach options as well. Rogue, I think without the Ying, aren't going to bother focusing on that lobby hatch, which has been such a focus for them throughout the games they've played here. And instead just put their focus on the two hatches they know aren't fully, well, are more susceptible to being pushed in from Garage, for example, or down main. And that's the one inside of open area and inside of admin. One of them, though, left open here, which just screams that FaZe want to play more out around the map, don't want to bother reinforcing everything off. So Rogue will have to deal with a bit of a full map clear before they can even think about trying to hit the site.
Spike looking for that angle from down the side of the lockers just near ATMs. He's going to be challenged by Bullet, who has the DMR in hand. Look at that, taking his shots. He knows exactly where the pressure is going to be coming from. Rogue wanting to get themselves into the top floor, really. They've got Kanto ready and poised to go in through those CEO windows. It's going to be a top-down clearance, but that's going to take them a lot of time, potentially. And it's more the mid-floor that they need to worry about.
Well, Sport's got himself inside a square here as they start their march forward. Cyber has the C4 in hand, so I'm just so mindful about exactly where these attackers of Rogue work their way through. It's Kanto pushing his way in through CEO and Exekia out towards the white corridor. No C4s being tossed skyward at this point, but the two members of FaZe saying, right, enough is enough, back down to site we go. Wasting about 60 seconds. But it's enough to have slowed Rogue down, at least for now, that could impact them later in the round.
Yep, not too bad at this point in time. Rogue want to get themselves in and start opening up any other hatches that they need. There's going to be at least one. I'm not sure if they're going to open up the main lobby hatch or not. So at the minute, Rogue don't look too confident in the fact that FaZe have been pushed back to site here, Des. So it just makes me wonder how thorough the droning has been at this point across this mid-floor. I think it is continuing. Cryin and Spike both on the drones, both trying to just make sure that that is the case, while Leon gets to work on the hatch.
The big teller for me is where these two hard breach gadgets go down. One's gone down inside of admin, which means they have a second one spare. So EMP out the lobby hatch, get this opened up, and what he'll likely do then is leave Deepek to be the solo man. He normally goes for a big drop in through red later in the round with something like a Ying to support that very risky death drop. But outside of that point, I think instead he's going to hold it himself and send Deepok off towards main stairs. So, bit of a rotation around to what Rogue might normally try and do here, but with that Capital on side, a lot of capability.
We've seen this position from Spike regularly on this attack. Takes up the spot on the mezzanine of the main stairs, just looking to try and pressure through the soft wall in towards the lockers side of site, but also to prevent any flanks, to prevent anybody pushing up and being able to rotate across the top and down blue stairs. They've got themselves established in server, but that is a big loss. As Cyber takes down Spike, it frees up the flank for FaZe.
At this point, they've got to find a couple of kills, so they do get rid of Cyber, who's playing inside a garage, but no one's pushing in through there. They've got to step in and try and make a plant work, and Leon's going in deep here, up high actually, right in the bottom corner. Never seen a plant coming in here before, but this could be enough. Nades and guns go crazy as they get their kills, but Leon shut down at the last second. The smoke dissipates, and he's visible. We're down to the last 5 seconds. Astro is dug inside a gold bar. Bullets playing on the upstairs. Where can they make this plant happen? But there's a kill coming in from above. A 1-for-1, but they run out of time, and FaZe hold on.
Rogue were so close in that round. If Leon sticks that plant, you feel that at that point it's probably round over. Big man advantage thrown away there, and that is not going to be an easy one for them to stomach as FaZe start to just gain a little bit of pace here on bank. It's 2-1.
That round really should have been Rogue's, absolutely. They had everything right for them in terms of the smoke placements, the nades that came through, the gunfights they took immediately as those utility pieces went out. The problem was, Leon a little bit slow in getting into that bottom corner. Didn't have a choice, he had to wait for it to be clear for him to push through. But by the time he's 1 second away from finishing off that defuse, the smoke dissipates and they get that kill onto him that was oh so crucial. The hatch control from Bullet as well, just more than enough to hold on.
Yep. FaZe are looking pretty good right now, and that was the problem. That was the problem there. So Spike originally was trying to push main stairs. That plant for Leon maybe works if Spike stays alive in that position, if he doesn't lose his gunfight with Cyber, because he can either push down main stairs, get aggressive, and take the fight into red corridor, or if nothing else, just the knowledge that there's somebody still on those main stairs may prevent them pushing up as they did there. And so Leon gets the diffuser down, but that was not the case. It was too easy for FaZe to step up, drop that diffuser in no man's land in the middle of sight, and take the round 2-1, and FaZe are starting to move.
I referenced earlier just how much this might mean as well to Leon and Meepy. Player and coach have been through the wars together. 4 S-tier events where they were knocked out in the semi-finals. This time they make it to the final. And to now maybe be in a spot where they've got a couple of these finals coming up where they might not be able to make it over the finish line must be a real stinging thought. Spoit here being droned in throughout that top floor. Leon seeing him all the way through. Very used to seeing this kind of play from Rogue again, as I referenced earlier on. FaZe for now, sat on site and just waiting.
Interesting extension downstairs from the key. That's one to watch out for. Bullet just playing underneath at the minute. Obviously has Nitro in hand, but vertical options, there's 3 Nitros on side actually for FaZe here, but vertical options can be a little bit limited, particularly from basement up into open area. You're pretty much limited to the 2 hatches. There's no actual destructible surfaces. Now then, Astro, he's looking to get himself up marble, but dips himself back to site instead. Normally, I'd be thinking that those Nitros might be used inside of site to play onto stock if the hatch push comes along, but at the minute, none of those operators are actually inside of there.
So wary for that C4 maybe coming out, but it's never going to happen. Cryin finds Cyber. He's had a great start to this game, Cyber. Him being off the round, never going to be a bad one. Cryin himself, 5-1. Just showing what the comfort pick can do when he gets hold of that Nook and the damage that he can deal.
This cameraman just waiting inside the elevator at the minute. The nade comes in, I think, above him at that point. Yes, you hear the hatch open as the nade will detonate above. Nitro thrown out by him for the time being. I'm not sure if they're aware of his presence or not. Sure, they see the Nitro on the wall. That's going to give him the opportunity to escape, but also gives him a rotation potentially into loan office. So something that they definitely need to be aware of. Could be a cameraman on the flank.
Cryi's on the hunt for him then, wants to try and shut him out here, I think, as well. Also, of course, mindful of what can come from downstairs. Nade comes in, and that's a freebie. Didn't even have time to react. Well cooked by Kanto, calling the chef.
Cooked to absolute perfection there. As you say, cameraman could not even move down the hatch, which was pre-opened and ready to go for him. Spoit just now looking down into sight. They've got that stock control. They're 5 versus 3. Astro is dead as he gets pinched between a rock and a hard place that is Leon and Kanto. 5 versus 2 now as Rogue are racing towards round number 4 being theirs. Deepak, he's looking down. He's got a freebie. Bullet, FaZe are running around with no knowledge of what's ahead of them here. And it's a flawless round to Rogue.
Much better performance from Rogue. Taking their time, getting the drones in ahead of them and punishing those FaZe members that are sat trying to roam around the map in these isolated positions. A touchdown to being a struggling point for both teams on Skyscraper. Not quite got the pace to collapse on those would-be players that were sat off in odd positions or odd rooms. They'll be able to get back to site or be assisted nice and quick. But a great example is that nade that came in towards elevators there. Truly stuck and unable to get out of that dodgy corner he was sat in.
A battle of the minds as well as the ability inside of the server here. 2 coaches just facing off against each other on our screens as they try to bring the knowledge to their team that's going to be needed. They can't speak round to round, but now it's all about thinking we have that tactical timeout. When do we use it? How can we impact on this game as much as the players within it? Round number 5 is coming our way. It's up to the top floor. It is CEO that Rogue are going to be attacking. Last time around, it was the first site that they actually lost on the attack. It was round 2, and FaZe were pretty comfortable in holding on. You just feel like that Ying ban maybe having an effect. There was a lot less window play than we might see normally, and not too much success for Rogue.
I love how FaZe have actually banned away, I didn't even touch on it earlier on, banned away the Echo themselves, knowing that that's a DPEC special on this map. I'm sure he'll be appreciating the respect that has been shown. Having that operator taken away that they've used so well to support Spoit out on their own, for example, on the defensive side. Very curious to see how Rogue adapt and deal with that, because I don't think any team has banned away the Echo against them before. Whereas on the Rogue side, they banned away an operator they did on a lot in the Ying. So you're thinking maybe FaZe's threat with it is far greater than their own.
Well, my Magnet goes out into position just to try and keep Bullet fighting onto these windows. There's going to be a much bigger presence this time from Rogue. It was Kanto on the Ash last time around who was there pretty much on his own until a late repel where he pushed into the middle of site. This time he is joined by Spoit. He's got DPEC in support as well as the utility starts to be burnt out. But how about that? Souls has managed to spot out the Lion of Leon as he tries to push in. Cyber has all the info he needs, but it's Bullet ultimately who finds that kill from above, and that is a little bit sloppy from the side of Rogue.
This is always about that respect piece with an IQ. Do you sacrifice something else and bring the IQ so you can hunt down those cameras that can be an absolute nightmare? But Deepek's in. He's going straight in behind CEO and looking for the plant here. There's no angle being held. Cameraman can maybe shoot out from below here and look to do some damage, but he can't find the man. The plant's been stuck. Rogue have the windows and FaZe. It's panic stations.
There was a nitro from beneath there to try and deny that plant, but it was a little bit late and it was a little bit off target, so it didn't catch anybody. 3 versus 4 now. Rogue have had the opportunity to get themselves out of the windows. This one should be done and dusted, Des, as Crying manages to find Bullet. 4 versus 2 now. Cameraman and Cyber have got an awful lot of work to do. Their teammates will be on the cams. They'll be trying to do everything they can to support them. Souls, you can see, is doing exactly that, but it's 3 versus 1. It's 7 seconds until there is no time left to defuse, and that is going to be Cyber trying to push forward, but it is too late, Des. The headshot will be meaningless onto Kanto as the clock ticks down, and Rogue, they take round 5.
Slightly more subdued from Rogue so far because they know you're behind in this series. There is still a long way to go on this map. You're up 3-2, but like you said earlier on, Tim, throughout most of these maps, bar Skyscraper, we've seen 3-3 splits across each of the halves. Skyscraper was 5-1. Rogue on the attacking side of Bank, you expect to do well. A 4-2 split. Something they should be very happy with if they can get there.
I'm genuinely struggling to think of any big finals that we've had in Siege where 2 teams have felt so evenly matched. We've had them go the distance, of course. You know, I think back to the SI final 2021 in Paris. You know, the NIP versus Liquid game. It was very, very close, but it felt like they were each winning maps, whereas this just feels toe-to-toe the whole time.
It does. Crying really stepping up big so far as well. Was 7-1 before he died in that previous round on the Nook. This round he'll have to rotate away instead and bring along that Thatcher as we look to move on to that downstairs, where Rogue have had some struggles, some successes. The attack last time around wasn't bad, it was just slightly mistimed, and FaZe managed to help the clock run down to 0. Rogue also loosened up on that flank watch, which let Bullet get in and find a massive 3K above, contributing towards those kills. But the offer for Crying I'm looking at here, Tim, and I'm just thinking, is it time to dream about a potential server-side execute, something that Rogue haven't yet done so far in this game?
No, Crying is going to be droning down there. We've seen Ossa used to get into Garage. We've seen it during the Berlin Major itself. So
yeah,
exactly that. Just moving in there, you plant the first shield, you work with the set, and you just plant it as you go and work behind it. And that is exactly what Crying's going to be doing. Obviously, he's been trying to bring the knock previously, but it's been completely shut down by FaZe Clan. They've done their homework. They know that that's what he likes to play. So instead, he's going to bring some utility to try and help him get that job done.
There's 2 of them inside a Garage here as well. And this is kind of what Crying wants, really. An early investment from FaZe to have 2 players holding the spot means that main stairs, Marble, starts to open up for Spoit to work his way down slowly on that Finker, as he often does in so many of these rounds. Plays very patiently, by the way. We clocked this during the group, so he'll sit there for a couple of minutes sometimes whilst his team get themselves set up. Looking to be a very similar thing once again. But I just fear that you won't be able to get too much pressure coming in from the Ossa here as well, because early in the round, the defenders can afford to be more aggressive in towards Garage, whilst the rest of the attackers move their way towards Blue or try and get hatches opened up, which is why really Crying should be going nowhere.
Crying needs to just hold his position at the minute. The problem that he's got is he's facing down 2. So long as they communicate and peak at separate times, it's always going to be difficult for him because he could get repeaked. So he just needs to hold on until the pressure mounts on the rear side of site. Now then, he does have his opportunity here. Bullet is 1v1. He's got the shield in front of him, so there should be an opportunity as Bullet continues the fight here. This is a real duel, a real battle that we're getting inside a Garage, and it's one that Crying can definitely win.
We've opened up most of these hatches now, though, as well. I'm surprised. I thought the second one went down inside of Admin, but wasn't fully opened up. Maybe it was electroclawed off as well. That'd be a bit of a stinger, because now they can't see in towards site itself. That staying closed means A site is mainly offline here, or if it is, you've got to be so careful. They're going to try again here, actually, because they brought Deepek over with the exothermic anyway. Crying and Bullet still doing this dance.
Spoit working his way onto the marble stairs. Same position as we saw him die in last time. So again, Rogue stacking up in a lot of places that FaZe are going to be expecting them. Juices himself and his team back up as he takes a little bit of damage, but it looks like it's going to come down to a hatch drop potentially. But in a 5 versus 5 with 30 seconds left to go, that is a big risk. You can see that they're really trying to avoid that situation. They've taken attention over to the other side, but Astro's ready, Des. He knows that this is a potential for them to come in here. He's ready and waiting. waiting. He's got the tools to do the job and does exactly that. 5 versus 4. 10 seconds left to go. Leon is above with diffuser in hand, but he can't possibly drop. He knows that Astro's waiting. He has to do it anyway. He's got himself inside a vault. Surely the time runs out. 3v3, and that is it. Round is over. FaZe Clan win round 6.
I've never seen Rogue look so behind the time, but I think part of that came down to the fact that they chose to rotate away in the last 20 to 30 seconds, away from open area, from admin, out towards lobby and make a drop happen there. But FaZe just kept on moving their resources around so well. Starting inside a garage to challenge the Ossa, and the Warden going up in towards Vault to be able to challenge onto that Capitao execute. Really well read by FaZe, and they get the 3-3 half they were after.
Astro played it perfectly. Astro played it absolutely, and what better operator to be in that position than Astro on the Warden. Absolutely spot on. FaZe then level things up 3-3 at the half, and that is where the side switch comes in. As you so famously like to say, Des, there is 2 halves to every game of Siege. Will we see more of the same, or are one of these teams able to push themselves forward towards a map win?
I'm wondering if we see the respect pick from FaZe over towards something like an IQ here as well. I spoke about that Valkyrie a couple of times in the first half, and the freebies it netted FaZe at certain points, like Leon playing inside a lobby on the Lion. Looks like it's going to be that case. They're already putting it over onto Cyber here. Astro's going on towards Diffuse, a pick that we don't really see all that often. You do sometimes see it on this site, especially when playing in towards like Staff and open area. There's quite a bit of soft flooring you can use. Think about Janitor as a wonderful start. Think about inside of Stock, another one as well. Even around Square can help you out if you so choose.
Straight onto the windows, it looks like, for Cyber here. He's on the IQ. FaZe just basically learning the lesson that Rogue maybe didn't, as they bring along the operator necessary to deal with those Valkyrie cams. It was 3 kills for them over and over, and they're not going to suffer the same. This time Astro on the Fuse is an interesting pick. They are brought along to clear utility and to move defenders. Cyber, he manages to find Cryin to open things up, and this is starting to look like a slippery slope for Rogue.
It could well start going that way, especially when Cryan's been the one dropping all the kills for his team in that first half. Sat at 8-3, now obviously 8-2 prior to actually dying itself. Matched by Cyber on the other side, currently sat at 7-4. Rogue needs to be able to hold on here. They know they've got a challenge around the map and stop FaZe being given freedom of movement and being able to do whatever they please. But it's so hard when they're bearing down on you with the kind of pressure that FaZe have.
It really is. Astro, he wants to get himself inside a stock here because he wants to start softening up beneath him with those fuse charges, but it's going to take a bit of work as Astro gets in and gets the kill. Hard Breach is going to go onto the hatch, and this is not looking good for Rogue.
It's not. Astro should be in a position to start using their gadgets if he wants to as well. But maybe more was leaning in towards that if they couldn't get the hatch itself opened up, which has now been done. So they're already in a spot to go for a drop. I've just clocked, by the way, FaZe had 6 Hard Breach gadgets in that round. Really afraid of losing out a couple of players, I feel, but there aren't that many hatches you've got to worry about up here on the top floor. More if you're attacking on towards the downstairs.
Cyber just looking to open up vertical angles down into Archives and Tellers there. He knows that Deepak is playing inside of there. The drone has picked him up, and the shots come in onto the feet as well. Deepak losing half of his health, and it is becoming a sticky situation, and he gets cut down as he tries to move from one side to the other. Cyber finding the kill perfectly worked as Bullet goes in. FaZe look quite frankly terrifying right now, Des. In round 7, it's 5 versus 1. It's Kanto on a fraction of health as he tries to prevent the hatch drop coming in, but surely his days are numbered.
Souls knows where he is as well. Just going to swing him at this point, Sin. There's nothing he can do. FaZe with a solid first attack. Now moving themselves up to 4-3. And like you say, this could be that start of that slippery slope. If FaZe proves to be the dominant force on attack, it can all end here in map 4.
FaZe is certainly, like I said, then looking terrifying at the minute. They're just coming in and dealing with every problem that was in front of them. What I particularly liked was the teamwork there. We saw it. We saw the push onto Deepak with Astro ready above. Already had those open. Just cut him down as soon as he tried to go through the door. It was as easy as that. And then the second challenge comes in onto the second player, and Rogue had no response. 4-3 to FaZe. We're going to see Lockers as our next site in round number 8.
Okie dokie, here we go. With that downstairs defense is definitely starting with the roam upstairs. Not so much supported by the Yokai, but we have got the support of the Valkyrie. Deepet this time, the one taking up that mantle with Cry moving on to the Warden. So sure, it's not mobile cameras, but it's still information, and Deepek has spent a lot of time sat on cams for this team, making sure that his roamers can be effective, at least when there isn't an IQ on side, of which there is in this round. Cyber actually got him very early on and took down the Valkyrie rather than the Black Eyes in the previous round. So got to be very mindful about that strength that he's showing on this map. 9-4 right now.
Rogue are playing the sort of setup that I was discussing earlier, where they've got sort of a soft extension into Open and Staff here. They're going to play a little bit of top floor, they're going to play a little bit of mid floor, and they're just going to try and burn as much time as they can along the way. The final fight in the map will come around that hatch in open area, where eventually they'll drop back to site, and FaZe can then start working towards that execution.
Castle barricading up inside double doors here out towards Bleepers, which sort of denies DPEC the ability to roam up if he should so choose, but it's Kanto very much committing himself towards a hold inside of open area. If nothing else, it makes sure that he can't be pushed in from lobby side, that no one can drop in through elevator, for example, and cause a bit of bother. Instead, he can put all of his attention in towards Printer and out towards the staff area itself. Bullet's working his way through the top floor, but instead there he goes, Kanto with his first challenger coming inside of open area,
That is
taking the start.
Exactly what Rogue needed, Des. It just gives them that advantage to stay in the map for longer. They're not going to be forced away as easily now, and that is super important for them. The mind games are coming out, Des.
Leon did this quite, I think on one game, he even tossed 2 outside as well. Just chuck them out at the end of garage there, just keep the other side distracted. Constant flashing up of, hey, someone's outside. It's enough to distract away from it if someone were to actually run outside. Now Kanto's tearing down that barricade, giving himself an angle out, or potentially a teammate to come and join him inside.
Souls again, just working those angles. He's so far been a little bit quiet.
Kanto.
He's going to be kept quiet as it's 0 and 5 for Souls, as he's really struggling to get into things here on Bank, and that one player could be the difference for FaZe. Here comes the drop down the hatch, and Kanto gets taken out before he can retreat to site. That was great play from Cyber there, just lying prone and taking the fight, and taking another. Cyber stepping up and dragging FaZe back into this one.
Just decimates the Spoit versus cameraman now here as well, out towards elevators. I don't know if they're aware. Yes, they absolutely are. He runs in though. Cameraman, maybe not as aware as I thought he was. Sprinted through and Spoit collects a freebie, but Cyber's still alive here, playing on the hatch, flanked by Bullet on the Finker. The 2 players, and arguably at least one of the operators that you want in this kind of situation. Oh my goodness, what was that?
Cyber was almost forced into that because of the kill that Spoit got. He knew there was somebody on his flank, so he couldn't stay too long in open. And sometimes when you corner somebody like Cyber, you're causing yourself a problem. He knows, I think, that DPEC is inside of sight. He's looking to push. He decides to go from the soft wall angle. Absolute beauty. This is a masterclass from Cyber, but he might not get the job done. Spoit uses the sprint to get away, and then the last is with the feeling. There is absolutely no right for Spoit to find that 1v2.
As well with how he was playing that round. Just taking gunfight after gunfight, walking through a 4K. His name was up in stars, but the other star in the sky, Spoit, gets him offline. CEO and Executive Lounge, we step into for round 9. And cameraman, I think, is very conscious of the damage done by some of those roamers in that last round, bringing along the decay beat here. Because last time round, we had Spoit playing inside of elevators, unchecked. The cameraman died to him for free.
Cryan's just managed to rat himself away in ATM at the minute, and that's going to be one to watch as this one mounts. He's going to stay there for the time being. The rest of Rogue are up on the top floor. Spoit actually quite aggressive inside of stock there. Usually we'd see a position taken up more in the corridor. Now it's Cyber who's working around underneath. DPEC's in a position. Cyber actually kills himself, and that is a bit of a swing from the Cyber that we saw in the last round.
Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. A player that had more kills than the rest of his team combined. Cyber, who is the chant now going on? I mean, in that round, fair question, he doesn't exist anymore, Tim.
One bad round.
I know, that's it.
I feel for Cyber.
One bad round and the UK boys are up in arms. It's Leon finding Astro as well. Rogue feeling much happier and much more comfortable in this round, it feels. You've got Cryan ratting it out here in the corner of ATM.
Honestly, he's going to get a kill. He's going to get a kill. I think telling you now.
All right. They know. They know. They know. They know.
Manages to escape. The dog could be called, just saving cameraman's life, I think, there. But not for long, Des. As Cantro comes in and gets one down from Banana to give us a real swing in the round. 5v2 now, as Rogue are playing confident and running away with round 9.
I feel like that was a really bad read by a cameraman. You know full well someone's playing around Banana on this site. but Chase is looking quite keenly towards the man trying to retreat back through tellers and archives. Could smell the blood in the water and got baited out by it.
Leon just watching, waiting on that vertical angle. He stood still for a little bit too long as Bullet, his nade connects where Cybers couldn't, and that's going to take Leon down, bring us back to a 2 versus 4. Souls is looking to get in. As I said, had a difficult game so far inside of 8 rounds, not managed to get himself in the action with a kill yet, so maybe not the ideal player at the minute to have inside of this 2v4, because he's going to have to find some now. There's no two ways about that, and for the time being, they're just taking a little bit of a pause as the drones start going in. 40 seconds left to go. Souls, he knows he can get in. He gets one. Can he find a second? Not yet.
It's about what else they can turn it around to. They've found a couple more as well. This is it again. Rogue losing that numbers advantage. We've been here so many times this series. Bullet and Souls in a spot to turn around what has been a very unfortunate round that started off with that team kill onto Cyber and Cameraman being dragged into it. But it's trying to find one back. Souls has got 10 seconds. We know how clutch capable he is, but can he hold off against Kanto and Crying? Souls down to a slither of HP. Kanto with the close and Rogue pull ahead.
A close round there, we've got to call it as we see it, and Rogue really stretching that thin in the 4 versus 2, back to a 2v2 again, and we've seen so many times that they've given up that man advantage, and right now, they're okay. They're 5-4, they're in the lead, but if they keep doing it, it may well come back to bite them.
You see Alamouse up there as well with the other Latam players. That's where all that noise is coming from. Why am I not surprised?
I thought it might be. And just have a look up on the balcony there where all the players are located. You can see a number of the Latam players there just cheering. I think that's Kino I see in the middle as well. Cheering on his Brazilian colleagues.
You know why they're sat up there? To keep them safe.
Get them out of the way. And the chants continue between the two groups.
I love the passion, Jerry. On his feet, really giving it full volley like he was at a nice rainy Saturday afternoon Premier League game, Tim.
Round 10 begins then. Rogue once again get themselves into the lead, and as this entire matchup has been, it is back and forth. I've rarely seen anything of the like that is as close as this. Crying, he's going out of this window. He wants it, Des. He wants it, and if he goes, he might just get one. You can see the thought process. He's thinking about it. The windows, they're prepped, they're ready, but Cyber dips himself away to safety. However, Cameraman, he's still there, and there is no cover in place. Your time is now if you're going to go, Crying.
No claymores on side, out he goes as well. And the zone there ready for the response, but he's got the right idea. Kanto's ready as well to cover, but Crying goes down. Didn't stick himself too close to the building there and does get punished for it. Kanto knocked him out to trade him out, but that DKB is gone. The phone calls are offline. Not
a bad operator to take down. Maybe not the best on the side. You know, you've not got your hard breach gone, you've not got your thinker gone, but still, what has happened there is a minute has been wasted. Not in the terms of a normal roam of wasted, but just absolutely the focus has been taken away from droning, it's been taken away from everything else going on in the round there to deal with that jump out. But FaZe, they get themselves back on track here as Bullet, he manages to get the kill onto Kanto, he gets the kill onto Leon, and this is the problem with that Finker LMG, it just keeps on singing.
You got Spoit and Deepet now holding inside the side, but a nice spray down actually. Gonna be like I think they do it up there actually, where it's a down from Spoit and a finish off by Deepet. They've got the one, but there's still 2 more to come pushing in. And FaZe have got so much time to work with. No more nades on side, but find the kill on towards Spoit. Can Big ET clutch out once again? Because the boys need him now more than ever.
Looks like we're going to be potentially going to see 12 rounds as a minimum again here as Deepak, he's once again trying to get something going, but lightning rarely strikes twice, and it already has, Des, so for a 3rd time I'd have to say it's highly unlikely. Deepak, he's got the weapon to do it, the Alder we know is fantastic, but no, the push comes in from 3 sides at once, and Souls takes him down, and that's round FaZe. We're going to see 12, it's 5-5.
It does not stop.
In Berlin, it's 5-5, it's round 11, and we are still on Rogue defense at the minute, and this time it's down to the basement we go. Lockers it will be. We saw it back in round 8, it was a Rogue win, and as soon as available, they've gone back.
Now Valkyrie on side once again. Deepet now really settling into playing that, it feels, on the defensive side. IQ previously brought along for Cyber when they spotted that this was an option for Rogue, or when they saw the Valkyrie was being picked up. I clocked it earlier on when Cryan was playing the Valkyrie. It was Cyber who was first in on the IQ, bringing him down as well. So not just removing the black eye cameras, but also the wielder, Valkyrie, taken off very early on. Here, there is no IQ. So FaZe feel they can do this without necessarily removing all of those black eye cameras.
Either that or they'll be hoping to find them simply by looking for them, but not always the easiest. We've got the bulletproof camera in there at the bottom of garage. It's become a very popular placement, but it gets taken out quickly, and so does Leon. As Bullet steps around the corner, he's 10-7. He's gone big the last couple of rounds, and it just continues.
Well, look at how things squared up when it was FaZe on the defensive side. They managed to hold Cryan at bay for a good couple of minutes inside a garage. But here, Bullets walked in and taken Leon's life without question. Really need some more players to go big, and Cryan's the kind of guy you're looking for. Finds one and manages to escape.
Great play from Cryan on the Oryx there. Cameraman manages to get himself inside the servers, though. I'm hoping that Rogue are aware of this. Kanto does, I think, look like he's peering in that direction. It's not Kanto, it's Deepek. He sprays through the soft wall and takes cameraman down with a headshot. And the quality of Siege on display days just gets better and better.
It's one of those there that you never know what you're going to find when you go for a kind of spray like that, and it is wonderful. Bullet taking down a slither of HP, almost tagged down, finally gets down and finished off by Spoit. Rogue holding on. But Tim, I've said this so many times this series, they may be in a 4v2, but we've seen these given away time after time.
This is it. We've seen so many times it come back to a level peg into a 2v2. FaZe have got time. 1 minute 30 left on the clock, and they have got utility that they can use. We've got 4 SAM-cams that can be deployed by Astro on the Zero, so information really shouldn't be a problem for FaZe here.
It should have been out a long time ago, I feel like, as well. Like, some teams often use, well, not most teams use the Zero as more of a, not so much for the site itself, but to watch around it, to watch for any flankers that will be coming back, using it as like a reverse Valkyrie cam, essentially. Yet he's held on to the vast majority of them. 2 have now come out, make it 3 that are deployed around so they get themselves set up. They're starting to think about what the play looks like here. They're against 4. Rogue need to not give them too much time, but they have got 2 C4s to play behind here if an execute does come through.
Kanto Deepek just holding a little crossfire there. There's one looking on in towards sight into CCTV, and then Kanto's just looking to hold down onto the garage double door. Souls, he's going to have to make a move at some point. 35 seconds. He just tries to edge over the threshold there. Can he make this stick? He's trying to bait out utility. I think there's at least 2 nitros on the side of Rogue that he's going to have to deal with. Astro gets run around in circles, and Spike manages to find the kill. It's all up to Souls in a 1v4. Out goes the flashbang. He's doing everything he can just to try and get something going, but at the minute, no joy. 1 of those nitros comes out, but there's 2 more left in pocket that might follow. Cryan with the final kill, and Rogue get themselves onto match point on bank.
Do you dare to dream, Tim, that this can get closed up 7-5, and it will take our 5th and final map of Clubhouse to crown our Berlin Major champion?
I cannot think of a better possible map to end this on than Clubhouse. We say, Des, time after time, how every team needs to be able to play a good Clubhouse. And there is a real opportunity that we're going to find out exactly why that is so true.
The thing is, I remember seeing G2 and Rogue go to that map the other day in their series. And I said at the time, it felt a bit strange. It was a very mid-tier map for both teams. But G2 said they felt it was one of their better maps, that they chose to go there, and Rogue are the ones being dragged onto it. So for Rogue, I hope to God they're confident, assuming, of course, we can get through Bank. You just get that horrible feeling in your stomach. This is definitely going through to OT.
It's going to be CEO again as the defensive site for Rogue. We've only seen this from them once, and they did win it last time around. But we know it's a tough site to hold on to, particularly if those windows get used by the attackers. It can make it feel really claustrophobic inside a site, difficult to move. We had an opener last time where Cyber unfortunately naded himself. I don't think that Rogue are going to get the good grace of that kind of mistake again.
It'd be nice. Just
Cyber's on 15 kills as well.
Just look skyward, hold down G for me, mate. That's all I need you to do. Start of this round.
15-7 this game.
He's been quiet for most of the series too.
And that's the weird thing. He's been pretty quiet in the second half of this game, and he's still on 15.
And Cryan's been dragging Rogue through this as well on a map that normally Spoit's flying on, feels very comfy on. It has been a slow start for a lot of Rogue. Astro, of course, in his panic, well, not really in a panic, but the last chance desperation act they've got is to bring along the Monty. We've seen a few teams leaning into this pick over the last few days when it felt like the chips were really down. Can they make it work on the push in, or will Rogue have an answer? Because looking at their gadgetry, they don't really have much. They've got a couple of impacts. There's no C4s on side. This could really stink.
Leon, we've seen, is often the one to try and hold on to this position. Sometimes will fall foul of nades raining in through the window, and that's exactly what we're going to see start happening from Cyber. First one goes in, not going to be aimed at the man. It was looking more to clear utility. We've got one from Rogue just playing underneath at the minute. It's going to be Crying. He could be in a prime position to challenge Astro on the Monty here. They've brought it along, FaZe, trying to bully their way behind the shield to get this round. They know how important it is, but he's aware. Cameraman knows exactly where the challenge could come from Crying.
They've got to be so careful. I mean, there's 4 players from FaZe on windows right now. Monty is the only one inside the building, but they're just covering these longer angles so he can take as much ground as necessary. But Leon finds him, finds 2! Gets one on the rappel. Diffuser is down. Cyber has crawled inside. Will be able to retrieve the diffuser himself, but they've already dealt such a massive blow. Their trump card, the Monty, is offline.
That is the big thing. Taking that shield down is huge. We usually see Monty survive, at least until the end of the round, but Cyber, he's in sight and he's making a nuisance of himself. He's going to take some damage off Crying as well, and we're still 4v3. 50 seconds left to go, but the diffuser needs to be collected. A kill comes in, but Bullet is a trade as he gets the Claymore onto the jump out, and that's going to leave us now 2v3.
Cameraman has got to move here as well. He can't sit on rappel anymore. In fact, he's up on the roof, so he is coming down to top side window to give Cyber a bit of support. For Rogue, they've got 3 left standing. Surely this is not a round we see going against Rogue. They're holding out towards Square mainly. They know that Cyber was around Banana, but may well have expected him to move away. They've got the cover as Cameraman comes in as well. The juice pulled out one more time. Rogue find one more down. It's Cyber left standing. Are we going all the way to 5 maps? Tim, it comes down to this now. Cyber, 8 seconds to find 3 kills or get that plant down. It's not going to happen. Spike finds the kill. We're going all the way to Kebabs, Tim.
What an unbelievable finish we are lined up for here. This game has gone back and forth. FaZe win map 1, Rogue win map 2, FaZe map 3, and now Rogue win Bank, which was our map 4.